Shalom, shalom. Y'all jumping in the building, man. Share, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell.
Drop some sevens, man.
Drop some sevens in the chat. The Kai the Scribe, man. Shalom, up.
My dog.
You can be on point tonight, man. Baba Kashar, the water. Shalom, brother Malachi, man, in the building.
Brother Malachi on the scene.
All right, we're going to be getting into it tonight, man. Waiting for the room to fill up a little bit. Waiting for the Akim. Right. Pray everybody's been in the spirit, man, as we we get into these last days, man. We gotta stay girded up in this thing. But as y'all see the topic, man, it's talking about be ye therefore perfect, and understanding how to achieve that perfection, through the spirit. And we're gonna go precept upon precept, man, to get an understanding on this thing. That's a brother. The brother T is in the Akim chat. You can improve that joint. Got a new page. You see that in there?
No.
Yeah, that's it right there. Man, we're gonna.
Hey, man, we going to jump it off with the spirit, man. Nakai, if you be on the scribe work, any brother that shalom, any brother that missed, haven't been tapped in, the precepts should be in the chat. Brother Nakai, if you be on the scribe work, let me get a con. Our praises, man. The breakdown for today is going to be ye therefore perfect. Be ye therefore perfect. All right, we're going to be opening up in Genesis chapter 17, verse 1. It's going to be Genesis 17, verse 1 through 2.
You want me to just wait, or do you want me to just bring him out?
As soon as you see him posted, you can bring it out.
Let's get it.
Genesis 17:1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect.
You got what?
Be thou perfect.
Right. So you got to really ask yourself, because like we're gonna get into this breakdown and really kind of get down, thumb through this thing and really see like the Most High God that we serve, Salakia. Right? Why would he call for Abraham to do something that we couldn't achieve? And I say that in the sense of because people say that we can't be perfect, right? But here you have the Most High Yahweh Himself saying, what did He say?
Be thou perfect.
Be thou perfect. Right? Continue on.
And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly.
Right. So we already know if we go a couple chapters later, He already made a covenant with Abraham. So ultimately, we can conclude, right? We can draw a conclusion and say that, hey, he was able to do what He had asked him in verse 1, which to walk perfect, right? And we're gonna continue to get into this thing. Finish up on that. Start back at the top of 2.
And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly.
And that's going into the 12 tribes of Israel. Next precept.
Next precept is going to be 1 John 2, 3 through 7.
It's going to be 1 John chapter 2, verse 3 through 7.
1 John 2, 3 through 7. Hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments.
Slovakia. Okay, you good.
He that saith I know him and keepeth not his commandments is a liar.
Is a what?
A liar,
Mhm.
and the truth is not in him. But whoso keepeth his words, in him verily is the love of God perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him. He that saith he abideth in him ought of himself also to walk, even as he walked. Brethren,
So what? Read that again.
he said, he that saith he abideth in him ought himself also so to walk, even as he walked.
And that's the perfection, right? Just walk according to the ways of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. He's already been set in front of us as a beautiful example. All we have to do is follow his lead. Go ahead, Ike.
Brethren, I write no new commandment unto you.
What?
I write no new commandment to you, but an old commandment which ye have heard from the beginning. The old commandment is the word which ye have heard from the beginning.
Right, and that's pertaining to Genesis 2 as well. Right, Genesis 17. Right, I'm saying 2 as an also, meaning to walk ye therefore perfect, be ye therefore perfect. Right, we're gonna keep going. The next precept is gonna be Matthew, the 5th chapter, Matthew chapter 5. Same Matthew chapter 5. Gonna start at verse 48.
Shalom, Brother Ken.
Matthew 5 and 48. Con, if y'all tapping into the building, man, like, share, and subscribe. The water, man, for y'all tapping in. Pray that y'all be blessed through the Spirit. The topic is be ye therefore perfect. right? And understanding how to achieve that perfectness through the Spirit. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 48. Bring that out.
Matthew 5 and 48. Be ye therefore perfect.
Be ye there what?
Perfect.
Uh-huh.
Even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect.
Right, there you have it again. The Most High is asking us to be like him, right? Be Christ-like, right? Through the Spirit of his Son, Hamashiach. Right? That's it on that.
Yeah, let's end the chapter.
Come on. Philippians 3 and 15. All over through the scriptures, you're going to see he's asking us to do the same thing. Man. And we're going to see, like, ultimately, like it says, on these two things hang the whole law. Right? When you complete these two things, you can be complete through the Spirit. Right? Loving the Most High God, right, with all your mind, body, and soul, and loving your brother as you love yourself. Right? But that's ultimately keeping the commandments. And then I don't want to get ahead of myself, though. Right? Philippians 3 and 15. Go ahead, Al.
Philippians 3 and 15.
Come on.
It says, let us therefore, as many as be perfect.
Be what?
As be perfect.
Uh-huh.
Be thus minded. And if in anything ye be otherwise minded, God shall reveal even this unto you.
Right. So here you have in the book of Philippians, he's saying the same thing. He's asking him, he's requiring us to be ye therefore perfect. Right.
You keep going?
Yeah, let's get that. 16.
Okay. Nevertheless, whereto we have already attained, let us walk by the same rule.
Let us what?
Walk by the same rule.
Right. This thing applies across the board. We have to apply this thing. The same understanding. Read.
And let us mind the same thing.
And let us mind the same thing. Get that 17?
17 too.
Brethren, be followers together of me.
Be what?
Followers together of me.
Right. That sounds like 1 Corinthians 11 and 1. Paul was saying, hey, be followers of me, not just of me, but because I follow Hamashiach. Right. To Christ. Keep going on that.
And mark them which walk so as ye have us for an example.
For what?
Example.
Right. So it's going to be some brothers that when your walk is being perfected through the Spirit, other brothers' walks is going to be as an example, right, of how not to walk, how not to be perfect, right, through the Spirit. Let's sit on that. That was Philippians 3 and 15 through 17. Next precept. We got what?
Deuteronomy 32 and 4.
Right. Deuteronomy 32 and verse 4. Deuteronomy 32 and 4. Bring that up.
Deuteronomy 32 and 4. It says, he is the rock. His work is perfect.
His what?
His work is perfect. For all his ways are judgment. And a God of truth and without iniquity, just and right is he.
Right. So here, this is a prophetic dealing with Hamashiach Yahushua.
The cornerstone.
The cornerstone, the chief cornerstone. You know, it says his ways are, his work is perfect. Right. For all his ways are judgment. A God of truth and what?
It says a God of truth and without iniquity, just and right is he.
Right. Just and right is he. The Most High deals with balance. Right. That's another way how that perfect. Give me Baba Kushar, Proverbs 11 and 1, real quick. Just a side precept. Because perfect, man, is understand when you're dealing with different type of weights, you have different type of mannerisms, different type of emotions, right? Different type of spirits, man. You have to be perfect in this thing. Right. Bring that up. Proverbs 11 and 1.
A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight.
Right, a just weight. It's perfect. It's spot on. When you kind of put something on the scale and then kind of levels out just right across the board. It's perfect. It's just. Right? It's balance. That's what the Most High deals with. He's asking us to operate in that same spirit. Right? You can yield on that. Back to Deuteronomy 32:4. Read that again. We're gonna go to the next precept.
He is the rock, and his work is perfect,
Mhm.
for all his ways are judgment.
Con.
A God of truth and without iniquity, just and right is he.
Right? Because there's no partiality when it comes to him. Right? And we have to do that. We have to operate in that same spirit, in that same ruach. I yield on that.
Go to John 8:31. Because it said his ways was perfect, yes?
Come.
Read John 8:31 through 32.
Bring that up.
John 8:31 through 32.
Mm-hmm.
Then said Yahushua to those Jews which believed on him,
What'd he say?
if ye continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed,
Mm-hmm.
and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Mm. Right. And so this is us continuing in his ways, or being as he is, or walking like he has walked. Right. That's the whole the understanding of being a Christian, not the word in itself, but the action of being Christ-like is to walk like Hamashiach walked.
Con.
Right. That's perfect. Right. The truth shall make you free. We're gonna yield on that. That was second. Salaki, that was John 8:31.
Right. Next precept is going to be 2nd Esdras 6:38. 2nd Esdras 6:38.
Go ahead, Rip.
2nd Esdras 6:38.
Uh-huh.
And I said, O Lord, thou speakest from the beginning of creation.
You speaking from what?
Beginning of the creation.
Right, because we can go into like we brought out the first precept dealing with Genesis, right? That's post creation, right? So he asking Abraham to be perfect, but he said he speak before when creation began. Was he requiring the same thing when he created the beginning?
Yes.
Con, right? Let's see what he says.
Even the first day, and says thus, let heaven and earth be made, and thy word was a perfect work.
It was a what?
A perfect work.
Thy what was a perfect work?
Word was
Thy
a perfect work.
Thy word was a perfect work. Give me John. Just to come exactly. You know what I want.
I mean,
it said thy word was a perfect work, but what is this word that it's referring to? Right? Expound on that, brother Yashala.
John 1:1. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God.
Go ahead, you got it.
Right. So this is that word. That word is Hamashiach Yahushua. He was there in the beginning. Right? And in him all fullness dwells. Right? He is the image of the invisible God. Right? He was there. So this word that's talking about is being perfect or made perfect is Yahushua Hamashiach. So we kind of breaking this thing down. We kind of going in a way that when we receive Hamashiach Yahushua in the spirit that the Most High Yahweh gave him, then we can start being able to walk in that perfectness, right? That perfectness. We can yield on that. I was trying to get that Genesis, and he saw it, and it was perfect.
My Genesis 1. He said good. He didn't say perfect.
Come, Salaki.
There was some more on that John though. I think it's 1 through 5.
Come, that was John. Genesis 1 and 3.
The same was in the beginning with God, and all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made.
See, so just like the brother was saying, and just like it was saying in Esdras in the beginning, right? It says, thou spakest from the beginning of the creation. even the first day, and said it thus, let heaven and earth be made, and thy word was a perfect word. And it says nothing was made but by the word. So he was perfect. So therefore creation was perfected, right, through him. Go ahead. That's it on that. I think
Yeah, that's pretty much you can stop right there.
Right. So what we're saying too as well, man, is Yahweh Shah Mashiach was it was delegated to him to do the works, to create, to do the works of the Most High, to do the will. That's the same thing as it is today. The Most High is going to require the same things of old. He's asking us to do the works, right? Yahweh Shah Mashiach, he the big brother in this thing. Back to that second Ezra 6 and 38.
run it back.
Just
And I said, O Lord, thou speakest from the beginning of the creation, even the first day, and saidest thus, let heaven and earth be made, and thy word was a perfect work.
And the word was a perfect word. Let's get Psalms 19 and 7. Is that on there?
Go ahead.
We got to get that, man, because it's going. We're going. This is what it is, man. Psalms 19 and 7. The book of Psalms, chapter 19 and verse 7.
It's on here.
Come on. Bring it out, Doc.
Psalms 19 and 7.
Come on.
The law of the Lord is perfect.
The law of what?
The law of the Lord is perfect.
Right? The law is perfect. Keep going.
Converting the soul, and the testimonies of the Lord is sure, making wise and simple.
Right. So when you start to consume this word, man, this Torah, this law, when you start consuming this thing, that's the perfection that the Most High is requiring us to operate. That's the balance that separates the darkness from light. This is the just system that He has given us to operate in through the Spirit. Right. Read that again.
It says the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul.
Converting the soul, man. Because the scriptures say that your heart is desperately wicked. Who can know it? Right? So it's not perfect. But when you receive the law, it can convert that thing. It can make it perfect through the Spirit. Read on.
The testimonies of the Lord is sure, making wise and simple.
Right? These testimonies that we're reading out of can make a simple man wise. It can make him sit amongst princes of the earth, as it says in 1 Samuel. Right? It can bring you out of that dunghill. It can bring you to a perfection that the Most High has called us in from the beginning of the foundations of the earth to walk in this thing. Right? That's it on that?
Mm-hmm.
I yield on that.
Next precept is Deuteronomy 18 and 13.
Deuteronomy 18 and 13. Go ahead and bring it out. All right.
And thou shalt be perfect with the Lord.
What do you say?
Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God.
Mm-hmm.
For these nations which thou shalt possess, hearken unto observers of times and unto diviners.
Mm-hmm.
But as for thee, the Lord thy God have not suffered thee so to do.
Right? He's saying, man, these other nations, they're going to look to go off of the ways of the world. But I have created you and requiring you to be perfect. What does he say? Thou shalt
13 again.
It says, thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God.
Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord. So the thing about it with the Most High, like the brother just brought out, the law is perfect. He gave us the law. So he gave us perfection. He showed us how to walk perfect in front of him. He even reminded us that the other nations are going to be into divination, witchcraft, going off. But I've called you to walk in perfection. And I've given you the blueprint of how to walk in perfection.
It's like this. If he is perfect, right, and he make a covenant with these people, right, and then now you got to walk and show me that you love me. I got to require the same thing of you. What you looking like? What it look like you walking around with my name placed upon you and you operating contrary to who I am? He can't have that, right? That's when you have the curses. That's when you have all of the plagues, and the things of that nature. that come into effect because we transgress the laws of the Most High. And we require not to be perfect, right? But to be as it. Read that 14.
13.
14.
Oh, you
Come. This is what we chose to do. Read that.
For these nations which thou shalt possess, hearken unto observers of times and unto diviners. But as for thee, the Lord thy God have not suffered thee so to do.
Right, because that's how these heathens do, man. They try to look to these other things, to the diviners, the mysterious things. What does it say here? The observers of times, right? The people who what do you call them? The psychics, right? Things of that nature.
palm readers, fortune tellers.
Right. And we got a precept for that. Proverbs 3 and 31, man. Then we're gonna get back to it. Classic. Proverbs 3 and 31. Because if he called us to be perfect, this is what he said not to do.
And by default, what we chose to do.
Proverbs 3 and verse 31. And it reads thus: envy not thy oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
Not some of his ways.
And choose none of his ways.
Not just a few. And
choose none of his ways. Right? Because when we chose to operate in our oppressor's ways, in the ways of the world, and go to the broad gate instead of the narrow, that we cease from being perfect in the Most High's eyes. Right. I yield on that. That was Proverbs 3 and 31. Just a side precept. We can get back to it. We're in the book of
next precept is 1 Kings 8 and 61.
Okay. Stewing over there, bro. You brewing? Verse 8, 1 Kings 8 and 61, man. 1 Kings 8 and 61.
1 Kings 8 and 61.
Started at 60. That's just some good starting point.
That all the people of the earth may know that the Lord is God, and that there is none else.
And that there's what?
None else.
Read on.
Let your hearts therefore be perfect.
You said, what did he say?
It says, let your heart therefore be perfect.
Let your hearts be perfect. And what else?
With the Lord our God.
So with the Most High. We supposed to be one. Can two walk together lest they be agreed? We got to be one with the Most High.
And we know in your heart is also symbolizing your mind. You got to focus on the precept. It says meditate therein day and night. Right? You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, how can you get to perfection if you're not meditating on this word, on these precepts, on this understanding? It's going to take time for us to unlearn these heathenistic ways and then perfect his word within us. Right? You know what I'm saying? So in order for us to truly come back to the Most High in full sincerity, we have to first unlearn our wicked ways and then cleave unto these precepts, meditate on his word, and then we will be perfected through time. Right? Everything is made perfect in its own time. Go ahead, you finna expound on that.
No, you took the word, out of, I was thinking about the same thing. But I'm just a quick precept in St. John, the 15th chapter. St. John, the 15th chapter. I'm going to be at verse 6. Salaki, hold on. Verse 4. Salaki, verse 3. St. John, or John, the 15th chapter, verse 3. John 15, verse 3. It says, now ye are clean through the word.
You're what?
Clean through the word. You see that? Hawashah Mashiach. That's the perfection, right? Which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, right? What was it saying in 1 Kings 8?
It says, let your heart therefore be perfect with the Lord our God.
With the Lord thy God, right?
Read that again.
So like, I'm going to take this real quick. You there?
No, what is it?
First, St. John 15th chapter, verse 3.
Bring that out for me. All right, 1 John 15 and 3. I mean, St. John 15 and 3, yeah.
John 15 and 3. It says, now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you.
You're clean through what?
The word.
This is Ephesians 5:26. And it reads, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, right? So it's the word that's going to cleanse you. It's the word. Okay, ask Saray. Don't come over here. You have to understand that it's the word that's going to cleanse you. Let me get another precept. Let me get Psalms 19:9. Psalms 19:9.
Crap. I'm so great too.
You say what?
I'm so great to it. Psalms 19:9.
Salakia. 119:9.
Oh.
Salakia. That's my bad. Psalms 119:9.
Psalms 119:9. Wherewith shall a young man cleanse his way?
Where can a young man cleanse his way? How can I be washed and made clean? What can I do to cleanse myself of the filth of this world, right? Go ahead.
By taking heed thereto according to thy word.
According to what?
Thy word.
Thy what?
Word.
It's the word. And we know that word, as we just brought out in John 1:1, is Hamashiach. So we have to take heed according to the word, according to the way that Christ walked while he was here, the examples that he left for us, and all of the law, statutes, and commandments that he kept perfectly. We have to strive to do the same thing, right? With that, I yield. The next precept is going to be Isaiah 38:3. Isaiah 38:3. Book of Isaiah, chapter 38, verse 3.
Isaiah 38:3. And said, remember now, O Lord, I beseech thee, how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart.
With what?
A perfect heart.
Uh-huh.
And have done that which is good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore.
Right? So this is Hezekiah crying out to the Most High, saying that his heart has walked perfect in front of him, right?
Oh, I know what this is.
His heart and his mind is made perfect, right? So we got to understand, in order to do that, we have to keep the law, statutes, and the commandments. And the biggest thing Jay can do in those times, outside of unlearning what we think we know, is to get out of our own way, right? Quit thinking that we know better, that we can find a better path than the one Hamashiach has laid out for us already, right? We got to understand that it's already been perfected. It can't be improved upon. So knowing and understanding that, it's our best duty to cleave unto this word, like the scripture say, meditate therein day and night, and begin to write them on your heart, right? Conceal them in your mind, and not just for knowing and reiteration or regurgitation, but for the action, for taking them and then applying them to your life, because that's what's gonna make you perfect. It's not just knowing the word; it's doing the word, right? So the next precept is gonna be 2 Chronicles 16:9. 2 Chronicles 16:9. Second Chronicles chapter 16, verse 9.
He be typing it fully the whole thing.
Yeah, he'll be abbreviated.
Yeah.
I think, and then he be flipping too. You gotta keep that in mind too. Hey, we ain't hating on you, brother Nakai, but you can abbreviate some of them words, gun. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Nakai the scribe, you gotta make sure his scribe work is legit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? I'll praise for that, brother. You know what I'm saying? It's the 2 Chronicles 16:9. Go ahead.
It says, for the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth.
Right. And we know they understand that to be the angels, right? They run to and fro, seeking and recording what the actions of Jake, whether it be good or bad. They're making an account of what's going on, and they're keeping it on record and bringing that back to the Most High. Go ahead.
It says to shew himself strong in behalf of them whose heart is perfect.
Who's what?
Whose heart is perfect towards him.
Towards him. Whose heart is perfect toward him. They're making an account and seeing, all right, who just saying it and who heart is really, let me get this. Right. Right, read that again. All right. Start from the top. Bob Kashar.
The eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth.
Right.
To show himself strong on behalf of them whose heart is perfect.
Whose what?
Whose heart is perfect towards him.
Whose heart is perfect toward him. So the angels, regardless of what you say, you know, the literature that you may provide, the understanding is that what is your heart? What's in your heart? What are your actions? What is in your mind? Right. And I got a precept to back that up. This is Matthew chapter 15, starting at verse 7. And it says, ye hypocrites will do of Salakia, you hypocrites, well did Isaiah prophesy of you, saying, this people draw nigh unto me with their mouth and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Right. And this is the reference that is given. Right. Like the angels are taking record on the people that's heart is really far from the Most High. They saying that they love the Most High. They saying that they love Hamashiach, and they punching themselves already. They ticket for heaven, but their heart is far from the Most High. They don't love the people of God. They don't love the Most High above all things. They not loving their neighbor as loving themselves, right? And ultimately, they're not keeping the commandments. So this is what it's saying when it's saying that the angels are going to and fro, and they're looking to see whose heart, whose actions, whose mind is solely perfected toward him. Right? I'm gonna finish this out. This people draw nigh unto me with their mouth and honored me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men, because they're gonna tell you that the law is done away with, you know, pretty much do as thou wilt, right? You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna give you a prosperity gospel to go with it, or a feel-good sermon to go with it. But the scriptures is precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, right? And we have to use that method in order to sear our minds with the law, so that we can start to form that perfection toward him, as it states in that precept. Bring it out again from the top.
It says, for the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth,
right?
To shew himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect towards him.
Finish it up.
Herein thou hast done foolishly, therefore from henceforth thou shalt have wars.
The next precept is going to be Psalm 119 and 11.
Damn, we was just there.
Did
I read that? No.
It was a need to read it after you just read what you just read. You know, they kind of put in a flow.
Okay.
So go ahead. Like he just said, your heart. What did it say? To shew himself in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. Go ahead.
Psalms 119.
So like you start at 10 and read through 12.
With mine whole heart have I sought thee.
With my what?
My whole heart have I sought thee.
Go ahead.
Oh, let me not wander from thy commandments.
From thy what?
Commandments.
Right, because it's the law. It's the law was going to make you perfect. It's the commandments. So when your heart is seeking the Most High, you really following after his ways, his action, his commandments, right? Seeking his face is seeking his understanding, seeking the mind state, the spirit that he needs you or calling you to be in. Go ahead.
It says, "Thy word have I hid in my heart.
Thy what?
Thy word have I hid in my heart,
Go ahead.
that I might not sin against thee."
Did I what?
Might not sin against thee.
Man, let me bring some out right quick. We keep referencing that Hamashiach is the word. Yes? Yes?
Come.
So this is Psalms 40 and 7. And it reads, Then said I, Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me. So when we say that the word, yeah, we referencing the word, the scriptures, the precepts, but we know from Genesis to Revelation with no hesitation, it's all referencing Hamashiach, right? You know what I'm saying? So when you jump back and it says, Thy word have I hid in my heart. Yeah, you're hiding the law, statutes, and commandments, which Christ is an embodiment of that. So you also hiding Christ in your heart, Hamashiach, and you're walking after his ways, right? Go ahead, King.
It says, "Blessed art thou, O Lord, and teach me thy statutes."
Do what?
Teach me thy statutes.
Teach me the law, statutes, and commandments, because I know that's my salvation. That's my perfection. That's how I'm going to be closer with you. This is how I get on one accord with you. This is how I can start to follow after your ways and then truly call myself a child of the Most High. It's going to take me forsaking my old man and putting on that new body, right? On that, I yield on that. The next precept, we was dealing with, we read Psalms 19 and 7 where it said the law is perfect. Yes, converting the soul. Let me get Psalms 119 and 142. Because Psalms 19 and 7 says the law is perfect. The law is what makes you perfect, and it converts the soul. Go ahead.
Psalms 119, 142.
Mm-hmm.
Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness.
That what?
Thy righteousness is the everlasting righteousness.
Go ahead.
And the law is the truth.
And thy law is the truth, right? It's the truth. It's the perfection. Just like we read in what was that? John 8 and 32, right? That the truth shall make you free, right? You know what I'm saying? There's a liberty in walking in its perfection, right? So the law will make you free. It'll free you from your sin, right? It'll free you from your past. It'll free you from the shackles, the captivity of the mind, right? The next precept, let's get James 1:25. He's going to expound on that.
Yes, because I want you to know it was from me.
Room.
James 1 and 25.
So like you start at 22.
22. But be ye doers of the word,
right?
And not hearers only.
Because like we said, it's the action that the Most High is calling for. It's the doing the law, not just hearing about it, not just knowing it, but you got to take what you know and apply it to your life. That's the only way you're going to be able to be changed. And the Most High is going to acknowledge your righteousness is through your actions, not your lips. Go ahead.
Deceiving your own selves.
Doing what?
Deceiving your own selves.
Because if you're not doing the law, you just speaking of it, you're really playing your own self. You're really deceiving your own spirit, your own heart, right? You know what I'm saying? You're playing on your own mind, and then you get a puffed up vain countenance about you when you really are falling short with the Most High, right? Go ahead.
Come. But
23.
Yeah, I was gonna read that again. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in the glass.
Right.
For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was.
Now, if you receiving this word, like you hearing it, you understanding it, you know what the word is saying, you know you're an Israelite, you know how it applies to you, you know how it applies to your bloodline, you know how it applies to your neighbors and your brethren, but you're not doing it. It's like you looking in the mirror and then knowing and understanding you're an Israelite and walking away from the mirror and going back to being a nigga. It's just like precept. This is Proverbs 20 29 and 11. Should like you 26 and 11. And it reads, as a dog returned to his vomit, so a fool returned to his folly. Right? You know what I'm saying? The same way you know and understand the ways of righteousness and turn back to wickedness, folly, lack of understanding. The Most High referenced that as a dog vomiting and turning back to it to eat. That's how the Most High views our actions. So we got to make sure that we're are loving the Most High through deed and not just by word. Go ahead, there's some more on that.
But whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty,
The what?
a perfect law of liberty.
Because the law of liberty is perfect. I told it, like I said before, it's a freedom in this law, right? You get free mentally, you get free spiritually, and eventually we'll be free physically, right? From the lands of our oppressor in this captivity. But first, we have to do the law. We have to show ourselves perfect before the Most High. We have to show our heart purified. Go ahead.
And continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work.
But a what?
A doer of the work.
Go ahead.
This man shall be blessed in his deeds.
He shall be what?
Blessed in his deeds.
Right? You have to do the work to be blessed in your deeds. Next precept, real quick. I'm gonna get it. It's Psalms 119. We were just there. Psalms 119. And 144, it reads, thy righteousness of thy testimony is everlasting. Give me understanding, and I shall live. Because we know that these laws, these testimonies, right? This is the way of life. This is the only thing that is going to bring us back to truly living, right? So having a full understanding of the law, statutes, and commandments is what's going to cause us to come out of darkness into the marvelous light, right? To pass from past to life from death, right? By keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Next precept is going to be Sirach 34 and 8. The book of Sirach, chapter 34, verse 8. Start at 7. Sirach 34 and 7 through 8.
Sirach 34 and 7. For dreams have deceived many.
Right? Dreams can throw you off. Martin Luther King had a dream, right? And then they shot him through the jaw. Go ahead.
And they have failed that put their trust in them.
Right? You can't put your trust in the dream, especially if it's contrary to the law, statutes, and commandments. If it's contrary to prophecy, if it's contrary to the word of God, you can't put your trust in it. Right? Go ahead.
The law shall be found perfect
without lies. They shall be found what?
Perfect without lies.
See, the laws, statutes, and commandments is what's going to be found perfect, right? The brother got up speaking about he had a dream, and those same people that he was dreaming about holding hands with is the ones that turn on him. It's a precept. This is 1 Peter 4 and 11. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Yahweh. If any man minister, let him do it as the ability which Yahweh giveth, that Yahweh in all things may be glorified through Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Hallelujah. Amen. So that's the thing, though. You can have dreams and visions, but if they're contrary to the word, you can't put too much into them. right? We have to understand that if we're going to speak, we have to make sure that it's according to the word and not our dreams, not our thoughts, not our feelings, not our own understanding. If it's not the understanding of the law, of the word, it's already been made perfect. Just like in the last precept, it says, look into the perfect law of liberty, right? You know what I'm saying? It's been perfected already. So all we have to do is uh um not, I wouldn't say challenge the Most High, but call him out on his word. If it's perfect, I'm gonna walk according to it, right? You know what I'm saying? And if there's anything that is not made manifest from what you said, then I can start to question it. But if I'm following after your word and everything is true, everything is sure, everything is just, he's only proven his perfection. We gotta hold fast to the law because it's withstood the test of time, right? These are thousands of years old precept, prophecies, parables, dark sayings, um, um, books, chapters, verses, testaments, testimonies that have withstood the test of time and they've proven to be true. Hence, now and forevermore, right? So we have to lean on this because this understanding is much beyond our understanding. I yield on that. All right, go ahead.
It says, and wisdom is perfection to a faithful mouth.
And wisdom, right, is the perfection to a faithful mouth, right? The next precept is gonna be, let's get Job 1:1. The book of Job, chapter 1, verse 1. Because the Most High, like the brother brought out earlier, he's not gonna call us to do nothing that's impossible. He's not gonna call us to do nothing that can't be done, right? There's examples of righteousness all throughout the scriptures. And if the Most High is calling us to be perfect, that means it can be done. It has been done, and it will be done again. The same way this book, it's alive. It's a book of our history, our present, and our future. Salakia, go ahead, King.
Job 1:1. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job,
right?
And that man was perfect.
He was what?
Perfect.
Nah, he can't be perfect.
That man was perfect.
Go ahead.
And upright, and one that feared God,
right?
And eschewed evil,
right? So he feared God and he hated evil. How else could you be perfect unless you fear the Most High, right? Isn't that the whole duty of man? It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 13, classic precept. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. So Job was considered perfect with the Most High because he feared him and he kept the commandments. He was upright, right? Or righteous. So that means he kept the laws, right? He kept the commandments. So long as you're doing these things in the Most High's eyes, you perfect because my standard of perfection you're meeting. Not what the world says, not what man says, what other nations may say, what your own brethren may say, your own wife may say, your own friends may say. But what is the standard of perfection according to the Most High? And it's to fear the Most High God and keep the law, statutes, and commandments, because that's the whole duty of man. And according to the Most High, Job met those qualifications, right? Let me get Genesis 6:9. Genesis chapter 6, verse 9.
Genesis 6:9.
Start at 8.
But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect.
And what?
Perfect.
And what?
Perfect
Mm-hmm.
in his generations. And Noah walked with God.
So there's another example of being perfect with the Most High. Job was called perfect. Here's Noah being called perfect in the eyes of the Most High. He was perfect. That's why he chose him to build the ark. And think about this. He told Noah to build the ark. He was obedient. That's what made him perfect. He could have been like the rest of the world that wasn't taking it serious, trying to enjoy himself, right? Going off and doing his own will. But the Most High gave him a charge and he accepted it. And he was obedient to what the Most High called him to do. Hence, his perfection when the time came for him to close the door on the ark, right? If the ark was made, the animals was filled, there was nothing left to do but close the door. It was perfect. That's it on the ark.
Mm-hmm.
Next precept is Sirach 44:17.
Go ahead and bring that up.
Sirach 44:17. Noah was found perfect and righteous in the time of wrath. He was taken in exchange for the world.
So bring it out from the top again, Slakin.
Noah was found perfect and righteous.
Right. So this is another example, right, of the same ancestor we were just referencing. But if you had a mistake, then like understand or believe it, here it is another example, another precept of them referencing the perfection in Noah. He was perfect and righteous, right? Does being perfect mean that you will never fall short? You will never fall out? Because a lot of people like this. Oh, well, Noah got drunk. Yeah, but that was he still was perfect with the Most High. That doesn't mean you can't make a mistake. That means that you were keeping the laws perfect, and he is probably went on to keep the laws perfect after that. But no man is without sin, as the scriptures say, right? I think that's 1 Kings 6:36.
I got a precept too, man, just to speak on that perfection, man, because knowing that, acknowledging when you have erred or you have gone away from the path, right? That's perfect. Because a lot of brothers don't have that discernment. A lot of brothers and sisters don't have that understanding. So when this is Psalms 32:5.
It's 8:46.
This is Psalms 30, chapter 32 and verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
And it reads, Psalm 32:5, it says, I acknowledge my sin.
I do what?
I acknowledge my sin unto thee, and mine iniquity have I not hid. I said, I will confess my transgressions unto unto the Most High, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin. Salah. Right? So just going to pull that precept to understand that this is the form of repentance. But that's being perfect with the Most High, understanding that you have gone astray, understanding that you have erred, that you can be reproved through the Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect with the Most High.
So let me back on what the brother was just bringing out. This is 1 Kings 8:46. If thy sin against thee, for there is no man that sinneth not. Right? You know what I'm saying? The only man that was without sin is Yahushua HaMashiach, which is why he was our perfect, unblemished lamb, and he was able to die for us as a nation. Any other man that was found perfect before the Most High, at some point in time, they may have fallen short, right? And we know and understand that. But like the brother was bringing out in Psalms 32:5, that's why the law was perfect, for we have repentance. We can come back to the Most High, acknowledge our faults, and then make supplication with the Most High, begin to walk straight, and the Most High view would see the perfection in our change.
Simone, that's all right.
I think that's it on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's it. Oh yeah.
Next precept is going to be 1 Kings 11:4.
Bring that up.
1 Kings 11:4.
Mm-hmm.
For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father.
Right. So even he was contrary, living up to the example that his forefather, that his father himself had set up for him. And that's the same thing that we have to do when we look at the days of old. We go into these accounts, these testimonies, if you will, and look at these things as it says in Sirach, the second chapter, verse 10, I believe it talks about look upon the generations of old, right? And look at all of these accounts of how these our patriarchs were achieving a perfection by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, right? By being obedient to the Most High, by praying, right? Fasting, keeping the feast days, understanding that we're supposed to be in this word, man, and not of the world. I yield on that.
But here you have an example of one of the most wisest men ever, right? And his heart still wasn't perfect with the Most High, right? So that just goes to say, as it was saying, I didn't continue reading, but in Sirach, Ecclesiastes 12 and 14, Salakia, and 12 and 12. Is that what I want? Yeah, it says, and further, by these, my son, be admonished of making of many books, there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. So you can have all the understanding and knowledge and wisdom of the world, but unless your mind is set on Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you still do not have the perfection through the eyes of the Most High. I'm not saying that Solomon at some point wasn't perfect with the Most High, because he had to be according to the scriptures, but that does not mean that he wasn't able of still falling short, because he did.
Just to expound on that precept, bro, bring it out, because it's talking about you go into much studying, man, and you go into all these different doctrines and things of that nature. But we reading out of the Torah, right? We're reading out of the KJV 1611 and understanding that this is perfect in and of itself.
All right.
I kind of overheard off when I had stepped away for a second, but how this has stood the test of time, right? What other book has done this, right? Isaiah 34 and 16 show you how perfect it is. Isaiah chapter 34 and verse 16, and it reads, "Seek ye out of the book of the Most High." Not of the Book of Mormons, right? The book of the Quran, right? And then we kind of talk about these things a lot, and that's a stumbling block for our brothers and sisters that are in the world. We as a nation of people, we seek a foundation. We seek, what's the word I'm looking for? Validity or structure. We want it, and we look for it in all these different doctrines, man. Discipline, that's the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
We want discipline, right? But it's only at the expense of responsibility, right? We want it up until it's calling us to do something,
right?
And so we kind of gravitate to these other different doctrines, and then we don't understand that these doctrines, they're going to give us a lot of those doctrines are reciprocated from the
scriptures,
from the scriptures. And so that's why it says in Isaiah 34 and 16, it says, "Seek ye out of the book of the Most High and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate. For my mouth it had commanded, and his spirit it had gathered them." So no other book is going to be can match up against the scriptures, man.
Precept.
Go ahead.
This is Baruch 4 and 1. This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh, and the law that endureth forever. Right? Forever. So it would stand the test of time, even unto this day. And it's going to go even beyond this day, even beyond our generations, right? This book will last forever because it's true. right? It's actual factual, right? All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated. Give not thine honor to another.
Give what?
Give not thine honor to another.
Different doctrines, different understandings. Stay in the scriptures, man. This is it's. I'm gonna find it. I was just there too. It says that this is gonna be wisdom is gonna be the stability of time. It is that perfect.
Isaiah 33:6.
Kind. The water, brother sharp in the spirit, man.
Give not thine honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation.
Kind.
Right? It's because the scripture says in another part, what has ye to do with me? Tyre and Zidon, right? Because this understanding, this is for us. This is our righteousness. This is our heritage. This is our customs. This is our bloodline. This is our seed line. This is our ancestry. Can they learn about it? Yes, but they're gonna have to come to us.
This is what makes us perfect in the sight of the nations, right? When they look upon, not just ultimately when the Most High looks upon us, but when the heathen's like, damn man, what's that? I'm gonna get this Isaiah 33 and 6, and then I'm gonna get that 1 Samuel 7:23.
All right.
Will you grab that out, Papa Shar?
7:23.
Come.
Verse Samuel.
It says, and this is Isaiah 33 and 6. And the wisdom and the knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Most High is his treasure. Right. So in this wisdom, in this knowledge, it's going to keep you stable, right? It's going to allow you to be able to withstand the wiles of the devil. It's going to make you perfect, man. And entire and wanting nothing, as the scripture says in James, right? Is it first or second?
2 Samuel 7:23.
2 Samuel 7:23. Bring it out, huh?
What one nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel.
Right, even like who?
Israel.
Like when we start applying these things, man, it's nothing can stop us, man. We all the way up. Nothing can stop us, man. And when we perfect as this, and I'm gonna bring this out and keep going on that.
It says, in whom God went to redeem for a people to himself, and to make his name, and to do for you great things and terrible, for thy land before thy people, which thou redeemest to thee from Egypt, for the nations and their gods.
All right.
Out of precept. This is Joshua chapter 1. I'm start at 7. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law, which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it,
right,
to the left, to the right hand, or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest.
And that's that balance that we was talking about in Proverbs 11:1.
That's right.
Right, not to the left, nor to the right. You got to be straight on with this thing. Go ahead.
This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night. We've been kind of paraphrasing that precept through the Spirit all day, our whole class, right? That thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous.
Thy way what?
Thy way prosperous. And then thou shalt have good success.
Good what?
Good success.
Precept. This is Judith 5:17.
That's right.
Right. When we start applying these things, man, we start walking this thing out through the Spirit. This is how the other nations going to look upon us, man. Right. Judith 5:17. And it reads, and whilst they sinned not before their power, they prospered, because the Most High had Salakia. And whilst they sinned not before the Most High, they prospered, because the Most High hath hated iniquity was with them. But when they departed from the way which he had appointed them, the perfection, the laws, the statutes, and the commandments, right? When they departed from the way which he had appointed them, they were destroyed.
They were what?
They were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemy. But now are they returned,
Mm-hmm.
to their power, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now, therefore, my lord and governor, right? This is like a captain speaking to a high-ranking official, right? He's saying, man, when these Israelites, when they off, they not keeping the commandments, the Most High, man, he gonna allow us to reign over them.
Precept, bro, you read that.
Mm-hmm.
Proverbs 21:16. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding, or the book of the law,
Right,
shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
right. When you start wandering out of the way, because this is perfect, right? Anything else is a false balance, man. Anything else is going to lead you to the congregation of the dead. This is your perfection, right? We got to walk in the ways therein. That's it on it up.
Yeah, I got another one. Go ahead.
Come. This is verse 20 in Judith 5:20. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be an error in this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
Mm-hmm.
And let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, if there be no iniquity in their nation,
right,
let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach before the world.
Fine.
He said, hey, man, if they come back to the Most High, man, hey, we got to keep
Leave them
moving.
alone. Leave them alone, bro. Ain't nothing we can do with them.
Fine.
Classic precept. This is going to be this is Psalms 1:1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of Yahweh, and in his law doeth he meditate day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season, and his leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper.
Come on, man, because it don't take Jake a lot to really just go off. It's a thought, man. It's a damn commercial come up on the screen. It's anything, man. Any type of enticement can come about, and it can lead us astray. And it says that lust bringeth forth sin, and sin bringeth forth death. So we have to be mindful and watch, and know that these things are contrary to the light. Right? It's darkness, man.
One more precept.
Go ahead, Ak.
This is Isaiah 48:17. Thus saith the Lord thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, I am Yahweh thy power, which teacheth thee to profit, which leadeth thee by the way that thou shouldest go. Oh, that thou hadst hearkened unto my commandments. Then had thy peace been as a river, and thy righteousness as the waves of the sea. Thy seed also had been as the sand, and the offspring of thy bowels like the gravel thereof. His name should not have been cut off, nor destroyed from before me.
And then, I think about that account in the wilderness, man. Like, everything about the Most High is perfect, right? When you look at the Israelites when they was wandering throughout the desert for 40 years, right? But he had a way that they were supposed to go that was perfect. But they wandered out of the way of understanding. They didn't adhere to the word, so they end up prolonging, right, and dying off, right? So we have to understand we got to stick to the scripts, man. Stick to the scriptures, right? This is our perfection. This is our stability, and this is our constitution. Ultimately, first and foremost,
this is our perfection. This is how we are deemed perfect by the Most High. This is how we walk perfect before the Most High. This is how we walk or set up the foundation of perfection for our lineage. You know what I'm saying? Our legacy, our children, generations after us. We have to establish that foundation here and now. The next precept is going to be 1 Kings 15:3. Oh, no, we just read that. Acts 13:22. Acts 13:22.
Acts 13 and 22. And when he had removed him, he raised up unto them David to be their king,
This is talking about Saul, right?
to whom also he gave testimonies and said, I have found David the son of Jesse, a man after my own heart, which shall fulfill all my will.
Read on.
Of this man's seed hath God, according to his promise, raised up Israel a savior, Yahushua.
So like, let me check the mic check. Bring that last precept out again. They said one of the Akim said it was freezing. I just want to know. Throw some sevens in the chat if y'all good. Y'all can hear us.
Nakai can hear us because he's scribing.
It was Nakai.
Hey, that was 48 and 17. Maybe he can't hear. Isaiah 48 and 17 through 19. Brother Karash can hear.
We got a couple more precepts. Akim, if y'all can bear with us through the spirit.
Brother Yakanan can hear you.
Probably just him.
Yeah, it probably might be your connection.
Run that last precept back. It's Isaiah 48, 17 through 19. Isaiah 48, 17 through 19. So we're going to bypass them because we brought that out. So it's going to be Proverbs 23 and 7.
Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 7.
Right? Yeah.
Go ahead, King.
Proverbs 23 and 7. For as he thinketh in his heart, so he is.
So what?
So is he.
So you got to ask yourself, are you thinking upon these precepts, man, when you going about your day, right? When you waking up in the morning, right? Are you applying these things to your life, right? Because the more you think upon these things, and so are you, right? It says in the scriptures, man, whatso man ever
this actually got more weight to it. Start at 1 and read through 7. You got it though.
When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee.
Because you really got to understand what's really going on. Well, you can't just sit amongst your ruler. It's beneath the surface. Yeah, you're sitting amongst this ruler, right? But what are you there to get? What are you there to obtain? Is it the wealth, or is it the real wealth? Are you trying to get the wisdom? Or are you trying to get the tangible gain? Right? Keep going on that.
Put a knife to thy throat if thou be a man given to appetite.
Right.
Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat.
Right. Don't let him overthrow you with this, with the he done set up a beautiful table of food. Right. He got marble floors. Right. Don't be enticed by what you see. Right. Like they said in the word, don't let your stomach be bigger than your eyes. You know what I'm saying? Or in your mouth. Right. View these things and count them as a small balance. Don't be in there bopping. Right. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Labor not to be rich and cease from thine own wisdom.
You can't desire to be rich and work so much to be rich. You laboring and you don't cease from your own wisdom that was given to you by the Most High.
Because the wisdom is the wealth too.
But you trying to attain through your own arms when the wisdom that's been given to you, you can't work hard enough to outweigh this wisdom, right? You know what I'm saying? You can't gather in enough grapes that's going to give you more than what this wisdom has to offer you, right? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, King.
Wilt thou set thy eye upon that which is not?
Without what?
Wilt thou set thy eyes upon that which is not?
For
riches certainly make themselves wings, and they fly away as an eagle towards heaven.
Go ahead.
Eat thou not the bread of him that hath an evil eye,
right?
Neither desire thou his dainty meats,
right?
Right. And in the topic of the breakdown, this is perfect game right here. This is perfect doctrine. to keep you on your P's and Q's so you don't have to go off, right? Keep going on that.
It says, "For as he thinketh in his heart, so he is. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee."
Right. So you have to. That kind of goes into that Matthew the 15th chapter.
Keep
Got
reading.
some more on that?
Yeah, go through. Read through 9.
The morsel which thou hast eaten shalt thou vomit up.
You shall what?
Vomit up.
Right. If you dealing with somebody and they are trying to overthrow you with they substance, but they not dealing righteously, they not moving in righteousness, they trying to reel you in with the honey. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You got to be mindful of that. And if you done already took a portion of their rations, you need to vomit that up, right? You know what I'm saying? Because whether they take it back or not, it's not good for you.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
And lose thy sweet words.
And do what?
Lose thy sweet words.
Go ahead.
Speak not in the ears of a fool.
And do what?
Speak not in the ears of a fool.
For
he will despise the wisdom of thy words.
And if you try to give him the game of what the understanding that you have regarding the matter, he gonna despise your words. He gonna count you as a hater. He gonna count you as someone that don't understand the journey that's been placed upon him, right? You know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. But the realization of what you're dealing with is that this is unrighteous meats, right? You know what I'm saying? It's just like the meats that's been sacrificed to idols, right? You're not supposed to partake in that. The same way as if gains unjustly gotten, right? You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing, bro. You have to weigh these things in a balance beam and equate them as the same thing, because the Most High has. I yield on that.
That was Proverbs 23. We actually started at 1. We read through 9, right? But ultimately, man, this is just talking about perfection and how we need to cleave to this thing more so now than ever, right?
Let's get these three right here.
Okay, let's get it. 2 Timothy 3:17.
Next precept is 2 Timothy. Go
ahead and bring it out, all right?
2 Timothy 3:17.
Come on.
So like is start at 16.
All scripture is given by the inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, correction, and for instruction in righteousness.
Right. This is another precept just to talk about how the perfection of the Most High's word has been brought forth to handle everything across the board. Dietary, right? Dealing with your brother, right? Feast days, high holy days, adultery, witchcraft, fornication. The list goes on. It's perfect. It covers. There's no topic that the Most High God has not thought of, or has not that
covered,
or thing has been instituted that he hasn't covered over across the board.
Okay.
Right. Keep going on that up.
That the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works.
Right. So when you start applying these things, it's profitable so that you can be perfect through your works. Right. Thoroughly finished unto all good works.
Next precept is Colossians 1:28. Colossians 1:28. You had some on that? All right.
Not lie.
Okay. Book of Colossians chapter 1. Verse 28. You read through 29.
Let's start at 26.
I was gonna say that, but it's 25 if we're gonna start it there.
Let's get it. Colossians 1:25. Colossians chapter 1, verse 25.
Wherefore I am made a minister according to the dispensation of God,
Uh-huh.
which is given to me for you to fulfill the word of God,
Mm-hmm.
even the mysteries which have been hid from ages, from generations, but now is made manifest as saints.
Right. So the word is so perfect. The things that have been hid for centuries, these mysteries, are now being made manifest to the saints by the deliverance and the manifestation of the word.
Right.
Keep going.
To whom God would make known what is the riches of the glory.
He will what?
Make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles.
He will make known what is the riches of the glory. And it's going to be known among the Gentiles. Them same people you would call them poor, they didn't have nothing, the have-nots, the people that went without. The glory of the riches is going to be made known, not only unto them, but unto them in front of you, meaning the Gentiles, meaning the other nations, meaning the heathens. They're going to see us come from the ghettos to a glorious crown with the Most High. They're going to witness that, right, with their own eyes, right? We going to witness that, right? The same people that's been trodden down, called less than, placed amongst the dung and the dust, we're gonna be lifted up, like it says in what is that, 1 Samuel 2, right? We're gonna be lifted up and set among princes, right? You know what I'm saying? We really gonna be able to live that, y'all willing, through the spirit. I think my brother
Jeremiah 16 and 19.
bring that out too,
because you was talking about how these things are going to be made manifest to us in front of them. Right. Jeremiah 16 and verse 19. Jeremiah 16 and 19. And it reads thus. O Yahweh, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee.
They shall what?
Shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies.
Right.
Vanity and things wherein there is no profit. Right? Because they're going to find out there was no perfection in these things. Salakia. It was no perfection in the doctrine that they was kicking. Right? Because it wasn't Amos 3 and 7. Right? Amos 3 and 7. He revealed this word to the prophets, man. So if any, I'm here. Amos 3 and 7. It says, surely the Most High Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealed his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. So if these Gentiles are going to all these other different theology schools and getting all this other different understanding, right? It's the word is not made perfect through them.
Precept, just let me back on what you're saying, just to verify who the prophecy is. It's Psalms 147:19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahweh.
Right. We like a man, it's a beautiful thing. Like when you go into Romans 9, talks about the vessel of wrath fitted for destruction, and it talks about the vessel that the Most High has made. It's like precious instruments, man, that the Most High has used. Right, when the word is spewing out of a Gentile, right, out of a damn heathen's mouth, right, it's not made perfect. It don't sound right, right. But when we start speaking these things, man, with eloquence and going precept upon precept, it's perfect.
It's hard to refute.
It's hard to you can't cut it down, man. You can't add to it. You can't take away. It is what it is. Right, I yield on that.
Okay. Do we read through 28? Keep going. All right. Go ahead.
When we preach, warning every man and teaching every man in all wisdom, that we may present every man perfect in Christ.
We may what?
Present every man perfect in Christ.
Just like we were saying, the washing with the word, right? You know what I'm saying? Christ, the word, Hamashiach, is what makes us perfect, bro. We can go from being a sinner to a repentant prince, right? You know what I'm saying? That's what Christ, that's the possibility that Hamashiach gives us. His grace, his mercy, his blood. You know You know what I'm saying? It's his blood that actually has delivered us from the curses. Go ahead, King. I see you hunting something.
Psalms 119 and 9.
Yeah, we read that earlier.
You read that earlier?
Con,
I
go
want to
ahead,
hear.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Con, man. But man, this is perfect though, man. The word is what cleanses you, man, through the spirit, man. I'm gonna bring it out again. Psalms 119 and 9. You don't got to put it in the chat. Y'all already been there. But it says, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way, but by taking heed thereunto, according to thy word.
According to what?
According to thy word.
According to his thoughts.
According to thy word.
According to his own feelings.
According to thy word.
Right.
So you got to start applying these things, man. This is what is going to purge that garment. This is going to make you without a blemish through the scriptures, through the spirit.
You said something like I gotta get it.
Go ahead, I yield after that, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this. We can yield after this, bro.
Oh, you talking about the 61?
Kind. This is Isaiah 61. I'm gonna start at 7. For your shame ye shall have double, and for confusion they shall receive rejoice. And for your confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore in their land they shall possess the double. Everlasting joy shall be upon them. For I, Yahweh, love judgment. I hate robbery for burnt offering, and I will direct their work in truth. I will make an everlasting covenant with them, and their seed shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people.
Right.
And that, all that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which Yahweh hath blessed. This is the same thing we was just reading in the passage about them being a witness in Colossians 1:27. Right? They're gonna be able to see this with their own eyes, right? Verse 10. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my power, for he hath clothed me with the garments of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with her jewels. I yield on that. So, let me finish it out. One more verse. For as the earth bringeth forth her bud, and as the garden causeth the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so Yahweh thy power will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations.
And what Aka's bringing out, man, it's spot on, because like what he's saying is like we talking about how these Gentiles are going to see, but think about it right now in today's time. You don't think they don't know? They know who we are, man. They know that, man. It's like that's why we brought out that second Samuel 7 and 23.
But see, that's the thing, though. Right now, they know who we are, but we don't know who we are. But they gonna see us realize who we are in front of their face. They gonna see it. They gonna taste it. They go, yeah, man. The vengeance, bro. The balance being sifted or shifted back into right. They gonna feel it, right? You know what I'm saying? Seeing, even though they know it's a lie told often enough becomes the truth. And white Jesus, Cesare Borgia, is their truth. So seeing Hamashiach come back as a Judite, bruh, it's gonna be a marvelous thing when
it's gonna be perfect.
It's gonna be perfect, right? Not only seeing Christ come back as a Judite, but seeing those same Judites be resurrected from the dead to everlasting life. It's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be perfection within itself.
Kind of like, especially if since the Most High has been for us since the beginning, like what he set this thing up to for the ultimate uppercut, man. Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all think that y'all got y'all foot on my elect my chosen, right? The apple of my eye.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna come back with a dang haymaker, man, when I send my son Yahweh Shai back.
Mm.
It's the perfect victory, man. A flawless victory
Con,
through the spirit.
con.
Good.
It's the uppercut, man. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like it's literally the Tyson uppercut.
Mhm.
Let me I want to grab that since you said that. Let me get that Zechariah chapter 2.
And when you applying these two, man, like we said earlier, man, when you start walking in these things, it's gonna be your demeanor is gonna change, man. Your countenance is gonna change. I said that's another precept in Ecclesiastes,
8-1.
8:1, the water that talks about, man, wisdom causes a man's face to shine. When you start applying it, man, it's something about that brother Yasha'Allah, man. He different, man. And then they can't, and then you're gonna be through the spirit. They can't be able to hold things to your charge because you above those things. That's above you. That's above, or you are above the status quo through the spirit.
It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 2, starting at verse 8. For thus said the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nation which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. For behold, I will shake my hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants.
Mhm.
And ye shall know that Yahweh of hosts hath sent me. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion. For lo, I come and I will dwell in the midst of thee, said Yahweh. And many nations shall be joined to Yahweh in that day, and shall be my people, and I will dwell in the midst of thee. And thou shalt know that Yahweh of hosts hath sent me unto thee. And Yahweh shall inherit Judah his portion in the Holy Land, and shall choose Jerusalem again. Be silent, O all flesh, before Yahweh, for he is raised up out of his holy habitation.
Okay. And it's just like the love of a father, man. When you think about it, like, hey, you in my house, man, you gonna achieve that perfectness, man. You gonna get right. I'm not gonna allow you to go off. Right? And that's the same thing as the Most High. We do that same thing with our children. You're gonna get it right.
Okay.
I'm gonna make sure you get it right.
Last precept of the night, right? It's gonna be Romans 12:2. Romans 12:2. Well, 1-2.
Salaki. You got it out? Go ahead.
Romans 12:1.
Come on.
I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice.
What?
You present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service.
Right, because when you think about sacrifices, you just can't bring any old sacrifice, man.
That's right.
It's got to be perfect.
That's what happened with Cain.
Right. Read on.
Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect.
And what?
Perfect will of God.
Most High don't want the last 15 minutes you got of the day before you go to sleep. The Most High don't want the aftermath, you know what I'm saying, of your day. The leftovers of your sacrifice. Right? The Most High don't want to witness you making the sacrifice for everything in the world under the sun, but when it comes to him, he get the scraps. Nah, the Most High not dealing with that.
Because you weren't made to do that. That's what he's saying. Read that again, verse 2. Because we are vessels, man. And he gave us.
Start from the top. Read that from the top.
Top of 2 or 1?
1.
I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God.
By the what?
The mercies of God.
Go ahead.
that you present your bodies a living sacrifice.
Hey, it's the mercy of God that you even able to present your body as a living sacrifice.
Come.
Because things that you've done, I should have been wiped you out.
Come.
So the fact that you have the opportunity to present yourself or your vessel as a sacrifice for me, and you not taking, bro, that's blasphemy. That's blasphemy, bro. And through the Spirit, we should be cut down a long time ago. But the fact that He's given us the what? The mercies of Yahweh, bro. The mercy. Surely we should be able to devote the majority of bulk of our time to doing the will of the Father. It says, present your bodies, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice. So when you're living, you got to be making a sacrifice for the Most High. You got to be being holy. You got to be being set apart, right? You got to be doing the things that are acceptable unto God, not unto man, right? Not unto your gratification or your benefit, for your flesh, preservation that you're making for your flesh, right? You know what I'm saying? But what are you doing to set yourself aside for and directly, ultimately for nothing but the Father? Only to give the glory back to Him, with nothing to gain on this side. Only because He's worthy. Only because He's shown you His mercy and grace that He has toward you. Surely He's worthy of our sacrifice, our living sacrifice, our daily sacrifice, perpetually. Salakia, go ahead.
I got a quick precept in 1 Corinthians 4:9, right? Because you're talking about being made a sacrifice, offering yourself up through the Spirit, right? 1 Corinthians 4:9, and it reads, it says, "For I think that the Most High hath set forth us, the apostles, last, as it were appointed to death. For we are made a spectacle unto the world, and to the angels, and to men.
Right.
We are fools for Hamashiach's sake."
We are what?
We are fools for Hamashiach's sake.
How do you do the dedicating all their time, you know what I'm saying, to their Bible, standing out on these corners and, you know what I'm saying, spending all their money on these paths? We poor. You brothers got some nice garments though, right? You know what I'm saying? They taking the time out to keep every feast day, every new moon, every Shabbat, using every excuse to gather themselves together. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we called to do, and we doing it because we fools for Christ's sake. We doing it because He did.
Okay. Check this out. I'm gonna put the word perfect in front of spectacle and in front of fools. Right? This is 1 Corinthians 4:9. "For I think that the Most High has set forth us, the apostles, last, as it were appointed to death. For we are made a perfect spectacle unto the world, and to the angels, and to men. We are perfect fools for Hamashiach's sakes, but ye are wise."
Perfect in Christ.
Right? "But ye are strong, and ye are honorable, but we are perfectly despised." Right? So we got to understand that He set this thing up, man. And if we're going to follow Him in spirit and also in sincerity and in truth, man, it's going. This is what comes with it. This is what comes with it. Don't be dismayed. Don't waver in the spirit, man. This is the perfect. This is the way to. This is the perfect way. John 14:6. Right, I yield on that, King.
Finish.
Let me bring this out. This is Colossians chapter 3:1. "If ye then be risen with Hamashiach, seek those things which are above, where Hamashiach sitteth on the right hand of Yahweh. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. For ye are dead, and your life is hid with Hamashiach in Yahweh. When Hamashiach, who is our life, shall appear, then shall ye also appear with Him in glory." Again, another precept that we were referring to, how these other nations are going to see us in our perfection, right? You know what I'm saying? No blemishes, no fleshly corruptible bodies, but incorruptible bodies, right? You know, celestial beings. They're going to see us perfected, and it's going to happen within a twinkling of an eye. Like, I yield. Like,
Kind man. We can finish up on that Romans 12, man. We'll yield for the night through the Spirit. Go ahead, Art.
Holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Right. He said this is your reasonable service.
Mm.
This is what he made you to do. This is the perfect example, right, of to serve. Read that to again, Art.
And be not conformed to this world. but
Because you a vessel that I formed you a certain way. Don't you change it up. Don't you switch it up. Read on.
But be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
But change your mind though. Don't change anything that I created you to be on the outside. But your mindset, your heart has to change. You got to be what? By the what?
Renewing of your mind.
By the renewing of your mind. Read on.
That ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
Right. How else are you gonna know? The scripture says, "For a man's goings are of the Lord. How then can he understand his way?"
Kind.
When you don't understand that the Most High's way is perfect, but when you find out his way is perfect, then you understand your reasonable service. Then you understand what he is requiring of you.
That's right.
You know, so with that I yield, man. We're gonna pick back up on part 2 of this breakdown through the Spirit, the water. Everybody for tapping in. Pray that everybody was edified through the Spirit.
Shalom to the Akim that endured, the Aquaf that endured. One time for Brother Nakai, the scribe, right? Double honors to the elders of the house of David, right? Been putting in this work for years and generations before us, the water. Shalom to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, right? Brother Shamariah.
Brother Nasi.
Israel.
With the saints upholding commandment. Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom, Akim.